I'm sure there are plenty of people with an A5 Shamir that are like, I'm never going to use this guy. So maybe this is just a good example to be like, maybe you should. Hey everyone, Ivy Lee Gaming here, and today we're playing Watcher of Realms. For today's video, we're going to do a hero guide on Shamir. Let's take a deeper look at him, and I'll be joined by a special guest who loves Shamir and uses him in endgame content.
The finest blood for the most untainted soul.
Alright, so before we get into having our guest join us, I'm going to read through Shamir's skills, talk about his kit, then we're going to be joined by a viewer who also does a little bit of YouTube posting, which I'll link to, of course, in the description and pinned comment. But they love this character. They completely disagree, think he's top tier and underrated. So is he right? Are we missing something? But at the end of the day, it just seems like as a legendary, he wouldn't be someone you overly invest all of your expensive resources in, especially like legendary skill crystals. But what if you do have an Awaken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Shamir? Is he actually pretty solid and worth focusing on? So that's what we're going to talk about. So he has no talent. That alone makes him kind of meh. No talent. Come on, devs, give him a talent. Alright, his basic attack is magic damage. Launching single target damage, applying drowning water, which decreases movement speed by 25%. So there's a little bit of a debuff, crowd control type aspect, which is pretty helpful. Alright, his ultimate unleashes an energy ball, dealing 150% damage to one target, inflicting drowning water. And then the ball then generates 5 energy shockwaves over 10 seconds, each dealing 15% AoE damage and applying drowning water to the target. 150 to one enemy, okay, but then this just doesn't sound that exciting except for the sake of crowd control. But doesn't mean he doesn't have potential, it's just not always where we need some mages. But is he a good single target mage? Maybe more than we're going to give him credit for. Alright, his passive, Drowning Water. The drowned water effect is stackable. Every stack of drowning water increases damage from the target takes from the caster's basic attack and ultimate by 10% up to 3 stacks. So once you have 3 stacks of drowning water on your target, then your ultimate is going to do 180% damage. So now that starts to sound a little bit better. Basic attack as well. It actually launches single target magic attack. It doesn't even say what the multiplier is for this one. Anyway, passive Might of the Sea attacking targets afflicted with drowning water increases attack by 4%, up to 20%. So maybe once you add in, so on paper it doesn't sound like much, but adding in 20% extra attack when he has these enemies with drowning water, plus the extra attack here with the stacks and this, maybe it's actually quite solid. He just takes a little bit of setup or the right, the right enemy. Maybe it's not for everything, but maybe there is some potential there. Once you start to see how much attack is being added to things, it does sound like he has some potential, and the control can be really helpful in some content. He is a magic damage dealer, so like they're showing here, and the control slowing people down, this could be really good. Oh my god, I'm yawning, I'm sorry. Why am I yawning when I record so often? This could be really good for Void Rift or Chapter 9. These enemies are super annoying. He might actually be a really top tier option for that. So we're also going to talk about that today. So his Awakenings. Awakening 1, targets with at least 3 stacks of drowning water will be inflicted with Immobilized when attacked by Shamir. Immobilized, unable to move. So even better than just slowing movement speed, unable to move. Awaken 2 is just a plus 5% attack. Awaken 3, max drowning water, stacks of 4 instead of only 3. And a crit rate of 8% with Awaken 4. Awaken 5, when using the ultimate skill, deals 15% more damage for 8 seconds. So all things considered, when you have these additions, plus his passives, it does sound like there's some potential there. Mostly a single target type damage, obviously, because like the basic is single attack, and this is a more damage to one enemy with just a little bit of extra damage, splash damage kind of thing. So it's kind of more of a single target kit. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe we're too often comparing him to people, like I said, like Iona or something. Like, they're AoE. It's not the same. You can't really consider this like a gear raid 1 build. But maybe now that there's more things added to the game, like the difficult stages of the Northerners, all the faction trials, and that there are all these interesting things that need magic damage dealers, like Void Rift and Chapter 9, maybe he is a little bit more viable than we want to give him credit for. He does have 4,700 base attack. His cost is only 19, so pretty typical for mages. And yeah, that kind of sums up his kit. So let's go in and talk with our special guest. All right, guys, and now I am joined by Win the Gray. So we are here. We're going to be looking at his SHAMIR. He's got a fully maxed out, fully skilled Awaken 5 SHAMIR. And well, he loved SHAMIR, right, Win?
Yes, I do. I think that he's an incredibly useful hero. So
you're a kind of a content creator, but you said you just kind of do it lightly, right? How do you?
yeah, so what I love in this game is just experimenting with different things and just having fun with the game. And so I've got a lot of resources to work with. And then when other people have questions, I can't beat this, or I can't do this, or what do you do here? I like to be able to try and put together a team that's similar to what they've got, so that I can then do a video that has that type of clear to help people out. So that's kind of what the focus of my videos are. And then every once in a while, I just say, hey, this was fun. I just did a 321 nuke video that was a bit of just a brute force.
Nice. Okay.
So,
all right, but yeah, guys, I will link his YouTube below in the description in the pinned comment. Lots of, like I said, lots of clears of various things that might give you guys some fun ideas of stuff you're stuck on. But yeah, we're gonna show a lot of those little clips and videos as well today as part of this video. But first, we gotta talk first impressions, right? SHAMIR is a meme, like a Cratch or whatever. Everyone hates him. And I guess my opinion of why, and still somewhat, I guess, agreeing with the community, is because I guess it's more what you see on paper. On paper, it doesn't sound like that attack really adds up to be that much compared to some of the other mages. And then at the end of the day, he's a legendary. Is he really worth booking over some of the other mages? Or some of the other magic damage dealers, like a Hex or whatever? Obviously not. Probably Hex might be a bad example, but like, he just, at the end of the day, if we need control, we have Mari. If you want AoE damage as a mage with a little control, we also have Iona. Like, can Mari do the same job? Or, like, I feel like that's kind of where it comes from me. Like, I'm like, do we really need him when there's better people that do big damage, and then there's other people that do better control, like Amari? That's my thoughts. So what's your reaction to that?
So my first comment is that his damage is higher than you think it is.
Yeah.
Because most people do not make him fast enough.
Okay.
His damage
Look at your attack speed.
his damage ramps up based on how many stacks of drowning water. How many stacks of drowning water he has. You can get 15% extra damage per stack.
Right.
So my SHAMIR is fast enough to hold 3 or 4 stacks. So that's 45 or 60% of damage. That's the equivalent damage that you would have for most other champions' ultimate skills, right?
Okay.
He's just doing it based off of repeated attacks instead of the ultimate, right? So he breaks the pattern and sits somewhere else. But yeah, he does really good sustained damage, and so that's where he's abnormal compared to other mages, where you expect a big burst and then
yes, okay,
that's not how his kit works.
Right. So it's more just like people probably haven't given him the proper chance to, I guess, use him properly. I should say people aren't using him properly and giving him a chance in yeah. And I guess you wouldn't think to put that much attack speed on most anyone, honestly. So I guess you
I've
just
got
got
close to that
creative.
attack. I've got close to that attack speed on Mari and
That's crazy.
Iona, and so yeah, they've got a faster base attack interval, right? So that they actually
Oh
attack
yeah,
faster,
true.
even though they're slower. He's got a little bit of a slower attack interval. So I really cranked up the speed on him, and I want to make him faster. Right now I've got a 1.1 second attack interval on him. I want to get to 1.0 seconds. And
Wow.
so that's just getting good speed on gear
Yeah, all
that's
these
also
pieces.
useful in other areas is kind of
Yeah,
hard.
every single piece you have attack speed. No
Yeah,
missing there. So it makes sense that you're able to
yeah.
get that high. And
But
then you
all of it's still in the purple. So you know,
true. True.
there's definitely room for growth.
As if we all get tons of gold rolls, not.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
I have like 3 gold rolls on my whole account, if that. Maybe only 2, honestly.
Okay.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
bad. It's bad.
I do have a gold roll on both Iona and Mari on
Nice.
their weapons, but there's no crit rate on those weapons, so I can't use them on Shamir.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so you have been built with 100% crit, solid crit damage, and then crazy attack speed, but you're still getting really nice base attack as well. So, I mean, it's a very strong build. Either way, the gear is solid. Then you
Yeah,
have what used to be called Blue Sea Ice Ring, right? Title ring
yeah,
now for extra chances of crowd control plus more damage.
yeah. And so the you know, his drowning water is normally 25% slow. It can stack up to all the way up to 100%. You know, with 4 stacks. This just gives you a kind of front load, so that when something first comes into his range, it's got a good chance of being grabbed immediately, and
Okay.
slowed, so that you can add a couple more. So it helps with the slow effect.
I do think in my head, a lot of the comparisons are always to people that are fully AoE damage, but he's not really AoE damage, right? Like, this is just like a little bit of extra damage. He's more single target, right? Or am I misreading this?
Yeah, he is a single target
Okay. So I think
fighter.
people want to compare him to all the AoE people, but that's not a fair comparison at the end of the day.
Right, yeah, because his single target damage a lot of times is higher than the AoE mage's single
That's
target
crazy.
damage.
Yeah, that's, I mean, which I guess it
Uh,
should be. A single target you think would do more in one punch. It's fair.
right, right, and so I've got a lot of content where I use him and Valkyria together, and
Okay.
side by side damaging the same thing. She's at about 60% of the total damage. He's at about 40%.
Okay.
But she's an AoE nuker, and he's a single target nuker, and he's still keeping pretty close to pace with her.
Nice. All right.
So, and then there are times when he'll surge ahead against like aerial targets and stuff like that. So,
So, where, let's see, what are the general, all right, using Shamir, you use him
mhm,
in Void Rift, right? We're going to definitely show something from there.
yeah.
And then
So,
Arena, do you or no?
not so much anymore because there's not. I've been moving with my arena teams more and more to try and stack as much physical damage to take advantage of the chaos. And one
Okay.
of the things that I pay attention to a lot is debuffs. What different debuffs different members of the team apply, and try and bring debuffs that synergize well together. Um, so I use him in as I was developing my account. I used him in Gear Raid 2.
Okay.
I used him in Gear Raid 1 up until I was trying to push from 20 to 21.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
So he still was in your 19 and 20 teams. Nice.
yeah, yeah, he's really good single target damage. So you know, if you can take down one thing at a time, that works.
Yeah, it's
Um,
okay.
and then you know he's awesome in campaign. He's awesome in Void Rift. He's awesome in basically areas where um, you see the content, but it's not the normal layout that you
Yeah,
get.
yeah. And faction trial for the Northerners, you did the highest stage use with him involved, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a
Okay.
great clear of
Okay.
him. And one of the things, everybody knows Northerners are great tanks. I would suggest that Shamir falls into the tank category rather
Interesting,
than
really.
the mage category. And you'll see some of that in the videos. Is that
Okay.
if you comparing him to like a Vierna or a Morgan is kind of a false comparison. He's more
Okay.
like a arrogance or a Brokir or somebody like that, somebody who stops the enemy.
Right. The control side of things is really important for his kit. Yeah,
Yes.
because he has like with the awakenings I was showing in my video beforehand. Like he adds this immobilize, not just slow, but immobilize with the awakenings. So it
Uh,
really can.
go,
How do you feel about him with no awakenings though? Like,
go, go, go back to A1. Go back to A1.
yeah,
Immobilized for 1 second, right?
yeah.
That doesn't sound very big. My attack interval is 1.1 seconds.
Oh, so you're just constantly pumping it out.
Right, and that's why I want to
Yeah,
push up to 1 second. So his A1 is for me a
crazy.
game changer, right? His
Okay,
A1 is a real game changer
if you can get
for
that
him.
kind of speed on him.
Right. But then,
Okay.
I don't think it's impossible, right? Because if you've got a whirlwind set that's 75% speed, if you've got a speed necklace, that's another 200. So you're already
Mm-hmm.
looking at 300 speed. So now you just have to get, another 60 or 70 from each other piece, and you're up into all of a sudden, up into the 400 or 500 speed range. So
Okay.
it's a possible to get there. So I actually like Shamir enough that I bought his A5 Soulstone
Oh my
from.
gosh, you did.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. So this isn't just lip service. I actually like
Oh
invested
my
into him.
gosh.
I just got a new necklace for him. It dropped as a
Okay.
wisdom piece, and I spent a couple weeks grinding the Gear Rage 3 to awaken it up into Soulbound Arcana. It's a
Okay.
really good necklace. I probably will never be able to replace that. So
You're
yeah, so
talking
so that
about
that
this
that
one?
that
Yeah.
piece, that is an
Yeah.
amazing piece. He had I cut a 26.5% attack, so dropped a 1% of attack off of the old piece, but he gained 3% crit rate and 13% crit damage. So that
Okay.
that very big increase. He got like 700 um, BP just from replacing that piece.
All
So
right.
quite happy with that.
So let's start going into some content. Where should we go first? Where do you want to show him?
So I've got a video of 916, I think it is.
All right, let's pull up that bad boy.
Yeah.
So,
So
okay, it
this
starts
is
right
just
away.
this is the old gear where he wasn't crit capped yet.
Oh,
Before the
okay.
new piece. So the new piece is
Got
what
it.
put him up to crit cap. So
Okay. Smart. Makes a difference.
yeah,
Okay.
every once in a while.
All right, so 916.
Yeah, and so I think that this is probably the best type of scenario to use Shamir in, where remember I compared him to a tank, right? He's an off tank. So you've got your main content of things that are going down in the bottom left. He's doing his thing up in the top right. And um, yeah, it's just it allows you to focus resources elsewhere instead of having to have
Okay.
instead of having a tank, a healer, and a DPS to hold a lane. You're using
That's
just shares,
true. Okay,
right?
it's the
So
control
that
side, yeah.
well, not just control, but he also kills. So
And he actually kills. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Both. Both.
the golem that's coming across the top, as soon as they
Yeah.
get their first hit, they start sprinting, right? And then
Yes, true.
they start hitting, and they hit for about 70k. They've got about 12,000 or 1,200 hit points. So most other mages are not one-shotting them, right? And
True.
those golems are actually a pretty big hassle. Now watch how far using the tiles on the floor. Watch how far that golem gets.
He's just stuck. Oh, I like the way
Right?
they show the snare. Okay, so he's like barely moving. Sometimes he's immobilized there. Okay. And he just
Yeah.
doesn't even get to move. Wow. So you're right. It is the equivalent of like having a tank plop down and stopping him.
Right, and then killing him, which most
And
tanks
then
do.
actually doing damage. Yeah, which is
Right.
why I like some of the other, yeah, quirky damage dealer 2 ones. But that's a
Yeah,
really fun way to use him. It makes sense.
Yeah, and so this just allows you to spend all your resources elsewhere on the map.
Wow. Yeah, you know that that spot is safe, so
Yeah,
you can focus elsewhere. I like it. Yeah.
yeah. My feeling placing Shamir is similar to most people's feelings when they're placing like a Olag. You know, just say, okay, this lane I don't have to worry about. I can do something else for a while.
Wow. That movement's like the immobilize is crazy.
Yeah,
So
and
that
so
is
here's
strong value just at the one. So everything else is more the, I guess, damage.
yeah,
And
yeah.
but you think even the potential with him, like using him in this way, even just awakening one, you could probably do so.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay,
That. I mean that all. If you
it's just
don't
that
have
immobilize. Yeah.
yeah, if you've got 1.2 attacks point attack interval instead of a 1.1, the immobilize it'll feel like they're moving twice as fast, right?
Right.
So that that there's a even though there's a
Wow.
decreasing benefit as you make monsters faster, the attack interval doesn't go down as fast. It's because the comparative really kicks in really fast. So this they wiped. They killed the boss. He's going to wipe everything,
Yeah.
and then move on into phase two. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I haven't done 16 yet.
okay, yeah. Well, if you got a Shamir, easy game, you know. So, and then this one, I'm just going to kind of make the point that in the other one, he was still within the range of Vortex's healing, right?
Oh,
Here,
okay.
here, here, I'm going to place him. Hey, Shamir is not a tank. He's not actually taking damage unless that's one of
Okay.
the rare archer or mage type enemies. So here he's perfectly safe. So that makes him literally the best tank in the game because he takes 0 damage, right? So
All right. That's
so he
easy.
there he's completely alone and unafraid.
I think this is why I haven't done all the nines. It takes so long. And then if you
Mhm.
fail, they're so slow with the movements.
Yeah,
Kills me. It kills me.
the yeah, so he actually killed faster than the
Okay.
combination of all the rest of the team.
All
So
right.
another really good video is the Northerner Clear. If you want to
Okay.
look at that, what you saw on that one is that the golems would basically not even make it across one square, right, of movement space. So this one takes advantage of that. And again, we all know that Northerners are great for defenders. Watch how many defenders I place in this map. Okay, so here
Mario.
I'm going to
Okay.
I'm using Mari now. Watch Shamir get placed in about 5 seconds.
Okay. Oh,
I'm
that's a
taking
good
it.
spot. This one's annoying. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm
Then he
taking
could
advantage of
cover.
that. Yeah, it's just
Okay.
basically saying this one square is unpassable, and
I
and then
love it. It's just like,
this is
no,
what.
you can't move.
Yep, this is one of the things I really like about and one of my discussions of why would you choose him instead of Mari? Well, it's not exclusive. You can use both.
Yeah, right. And it's not like
Yeah,
it's hard. It's not like it's
I mean,
hard to build her. You get copies of her. She's
yeah.
only an
So
epic.
yeah,
It's easy to skill her. Not like you
right.
can't use both. Good point.
Yeah. So, but so she can apply her slow, and then he can apply his slow on top. They're different slows, so they stack. Um,
Okay, true. One's actually slow and one's the movement speed, drowning
the
water
drowning
thing.
speed, yeah, drowning
Yeah,
water.
they're called different debuffs, so
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah. So at this point, I've got
Interesting.
everybody on the map. I've got no tanks on the map. The only reason I've got a healer
Wow, yeah.
is because the healer is tanking hits, from the priestesses as they walk past. That's the only
Okay.
reason I have to place a healer on that map at all.
Yeah, this is really strong.
So, and again, this is, what Shamir does that no other hero in the game can do is say this hex, which is within 3 steps of a pedestal, is no longer passable, right?
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't have to be the same hex from second to second, right? Is that if you can actually have him covering 2 lanes if they're side by side or something like that. Um, And so, yeah, I like that about him. And you can see Mari's doing like 2K, 20K with her ultimate, whereas, Shamir is doing, 100 something K.
Yeah,
Uh,
she doesn't exactly do a lot of
so
damage.
so he's the one doing the kills there.
That's awesome. Man, if it like have like Elder in the mix too, another like great tanky but damage dealer, Northerners
Yeah,
faction start be popping for you.
yeah, I leaned really heavily into the Northern faction early.
Yeah.
I got Valkyra early. I got Shamir early. I got Mari, of course, early. I got King Hars early. I got King Hars before the Isolde shard event, so I was already pretty well equipped for that. And then, of course, you get all Olag from the campaign, and yeah, so I was pretty well set for the Northerners fairly early on.
Which Void Rift should we show? Maybe some Torodor boss. You use him versus Torodor. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, and I do
That's a hard fight.
Void Rift differently each time, but yeah,
Okay.
Torodor
You do that
is a
one.
good demo. Yeah.
Because that's something, yeah, that's a hard one that a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with stupid Calypso. Oh my god. On
I
trying it in
have-
hard.
I have a Calypso clear with
Yeah, I
Shamir
see how that.
on the channel.
Yep, I see that underneath here with the stuff you sent me.
So yeah,
This
we
one
can show
is
that.
Torodor. Which different? Wait, this is Nightmare too. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is Nightmare.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's that would be another good spot for Shamir, down in that bottom left corner. But I want him up top on this one.
Okay,
So
that's what I thought. All right, that's a fun spot. That's where I would normally put like, I've put Comet or Hotset there personally.
Yeah,
and then brought in other fighters to stall him or whatever.
Yeah, and I've done like a Calypso up there as well. Yeah. So, but this is a place where he's a good single target damage dealer who can also.
And it's so good that he's like pausing those enemies right there, so Val can just be like, "I got it. I'll help."
Yep.
Slowing them down.
And I really like the Valk and Shamir synergy too.
Okay.
Because she applies a magic.
Magic. Yep. Vulnerability.
So I also, I mean, she's got she's my second highest BP hero.
I love her. She's been one of my favorite heroes since the start of the game, since I got her. I got her within like the first like few weeks, I think, and I loved her instantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like her a lot too. So,
and
one of the things that you'll see a lot in my clears is as I'm getting better, right? I have less and less ground tiles and more platform tiles.
Interesting.
And so this is a example. Ground tiles take damage,
Yeah.
And so pedestal heroes don't. So
that's so fun. Yeah, and you have Estrid, who's such a rare hero. I remember we were like listening to a guy on Twitch, and he was talking about like, I don't know why nobody uses Estrid. She's so good. I want to be like, because nobody has her.
Yeah.
I don't even have one copy yet, and I've pulled like over 4,000 summons, not even counting legendary crystals, so not one.
Yeah, I've dumped a lot of soul stones into her, just because.
Yeah, I definitely would.
I normally have one. Yeah, I've got like one legend project and one epic project going at any point in time.
Okay.
So she was the epic project that I just finished, so I used her in a lot of this stuff because in this last Void Rift clear because I finally had her maxed.
Yeah, I know you mentioned maybe showcasing her too, so I'll probably take you up on that because not a lot of people have her, like, just period. But the ones that do are probably like, why can't I find content?
Right. Well, and that's exactly the problem is a lot of people have. I ran into that problem when I was trying to clear 121. Gear Red 121 is everybody had a Vienna, literally.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Like, and then so trying to like scroll through, like skip that one. Yeah. Although sometimes it's important for people to actually listen to our videos, or just because we have X champion doesn't mean they're the answer. Like that's the problem too.
So
there we go.
Heroes quite decent. He
Yeah.
way outpaced Valkyria. Although granted, he's doing both lanes and she was only doing one. But yeah,
It just shows he can handle the even Nightmare stage. That's crazy.
yeah.
I'm sure there are plenty of people with an A5 Shamir that are like, I'm never going to use this guy. So maybe this is just a good example to be like, maybe you should.
Yeah.
All right, I like it. I have to play the Calypso one because I'm so annoyed with Calypso right now. I can beat it sometimes I can't. And it's just like my roadblock of making me not want to play Void Rift. Which it shouldn't be. I think it's just gear for me at the end of the day. Like, I'm just not hitting hard enough in the beginning to just blast her. But I'm definitely going to want to see her Shamir in action.
On this one, I let her come all the way up to the end and just
really?
So it's it's.
Oh, that's smart. I never thought to try that.
Well,
I hit her as soon as she comes out.
This is all about what order you place your heroes in, right?
Yes, because the last one placed has to be the strongest one to take the hits from her, right?
Yeah. So there's Shamir goes in.
Oh yeah, and she comes out before you have a chance to place all your heroes too, so it makes you got to save the toughest ones for the end.
Yeah, so that's where I really like these epic marksmen. Now watch,
because they're cheap to place. Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
They can completely immobilize that ogre right there in the middle.
Okay.
Is that he never got a chance to approach the lane before I placed the tank.
Yeah, I'm so surprised with that because.
So
I wouldn't have thought
now, in one thing in Void Rift is the golems in Void Rift are immune to the immobilize, which is a little bit sad, but he's still got the really strong slow, and the ogres are not immune to the immobilize.
I love this setup though. This is genius. I guess my change would be instead of Calypso, I would put my Alaura there because then she can just sit there attacking the crap out of her when she pauses again without getting hit. And help do a little bit of damage?
You could. I've got my Calypso facing downward.
Oh, that's true. You have her down, though. Yeah.
Because she gets a shield when she's in that pause state. And that reduces the damage. You see that shield came up?
True.
So that I don't
you don't even worry about attacking her yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're just kind of waiting. All your ults are ready. You're waiting for her to get close, and then you're just going to blast it?
Yep.
Love it.
Meanwhile, Adril is about the only one doing anything.
She's so good. I love her. And you're not even using her ult, are you? No. You haven't used anybody's ult, have you? Or no?
I just used hers and
now you did. Yeah, now you did. Yep.
Lunaria and Shamir are autocast. Calypso is autocast. So, and this one, you can see that at the very end, Oleg is starting to face some pressure from her.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm starting to pop ultimates.
Wow.
But
you didn't even pop Idril. You didn't even need to.
No.
That's crazy. Okay, I'm definitely going to steal your formation for that attempt.
And there's a damage comparison. Idril, of course, was hitting targets the entire time. Shamir only.
Yeah. Wow.
But you can see Shamir versus Calypso. And that's an A5 Calypso who is fully charged up. So, the damage comparison between him and her is, neck and neck.
Yeah, I really think at the end of the day, it just comes down to maybe the reality is none of these characters are terrible. We just have to figure out the right way to use them, right? Like maybe everyone should have their role. I can't say none. There probably is some oopses that they messed up. But I've never seen people really push Shamir with something like you did with so much attack speed. You just see a typical damage build and they're like, not good enough. So, I love it.
With a typical damage build, right?
Yeah.
You're got a good crit damage, but what you're giving up for that is stacks of drowning water. So you're giving up that 15% stacking damage that he gets from. And so the damage is not going to be there by going with crit damage. And then the other thing is the faster you get, there's a sustained DPS damage that comes just from being fast, right? Is if you have a 1.1, you're faster, you're doing 10% more damage than a 1.2, roughly. And so that's a lot of people, when they just build for pure damage and not for speed, they're giving up some pieces specifically for Shamir.
Yeah.
There are other heroes I think
That's
that also benefit from speed, but
it's true. And then, so at the end of the day, all right, so this kind of attack speed and this kind of gear, a lot of people just don't have or can't relate to quite yet. So
Mhm.
is this using him the way you're using him? Do you think it's possible at lower attack speeds like 500 or not really? Do you really need to kind of get this high?
I think it's probably possible, but you're not going to be able to do as much with the complete immobilize that I do.
Okay, like the way
Uh,
you use him like a defensive
yeah,
staller, you can't get away with that quite as well.
not quite as well. Look, I'll point you at the last video at Fun with Golems 1. That the golems are immune to the immobilize in Void Rift.
Oh, on
So
your channel, want me to pull up, you mean? Let's
yeah,
see. Hold
so
up, I didn't follow you. Oh, this one. Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. This is a... Oh, yeah, that's pretty quick. So this is Nightmare Void Rift.
yeah,
This
this
is
is
just
Fun with
a...
Golems. This is Fun with
Okay.
Golems too, and that's not bad. But it's definitely a no tank clear.
Okay.
But Fun with Golems 1, he actually really showcases the fact that even though they're immobilized, you can still control them, or that even
Okay.
though they're immune to immobilize, you can
Immune,
still control them.
yeah. You can still do the drowning water, you just can't do the immobilize.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So on this stage, the key thing is to take down those priests as soon as possible, and
Okay.
that's it. Because otherwise, they will turn backwards and shoot and take out Shamir.
Oh, yeah, they move around, you're right,
So,
okay.
so
So those
that's
get...
why I've got two archers, two legend archers
Yeah, I see your
facing there.
Lunarian.
Lunaria is facing left to take down
Yeah.
golems. She
And
doesn't do nearly
then
as much
that
damage as he does.
Silas is faced this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then that's Brienne out there. I
Okay.
really slept on Brienne hard. I really like Brienne.
Yeah. I think I see a lot of people not really use her much, or they worry because she's just one of the early ones that's a little bit more meh sounding. But I'm like, I've seen people use Brienne in endgame content. I definitely have. I think
Mhm.
more so than like Theowen, right? Like if you had to compare, would you use Brienne over Theowen?
Yeah, so I haven't used the Theowen much yet.
Okay.
I do have him on my,
On your...
I have to work on him at some point.
Yeah.
I think I want to do Tazira first. I think that she's supposed to be used specifically to take down
Yeah,
the
she seems
GR3.
terrible, so I'd love to see her use...
Yeah, I think that there's something you can do with her.
Okay.
But yeah. So anyway, so this one still no tanks on the
Yeah,
ground.
no tanks on the ground seems insane to me.
Yeah,
I love it.
and so I was in the army for 11 years, and one of the things that you hear is the tooth to tail ratio, right? How much of your force revolves around killing the enemy, and how much of your force is support, right?
Yeah.
And so I like clears like this because they're very efficient from the perspective of every slot on my team is killing stuff.
Yeah, and that was so important that without that movement speed reduction, he would have hit the crystal every time, so...
Right.
Yeah, you definitely would have needed a tank.
Yeah, and you could do the damage comparison.
And then because he... Yeah, because he actually is not only doing the same role as a tank, he's also... Yeah, your main DPS. That's so good. I love
And
it.
that, it's. I'm going to point out. I've got Silas with Vierna.
Oh,
he's
yeah. It's not like your
considered
Silas is bad. Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Okay.
my Silas is 100 kbp too. So
Cool.
he's maxed. If you
Oh,
want to do fun with Golems 1, that one's kind of fun too. And I actually like set the thing down and walked away. Didn't pop ultimates, didn't do anything.
oh, the one right before. Oh, is that what the one I was on?
No,
Did I just play? Oh,
you
no,
just
that
did
was
fun
the other one.
with
Okay.
Golems too.
It's
Yeah.
suggesting the other one.
Yeah. So this is 6 heroes, you're allowed 8. Um, again, no tanks on the field. This is Void Rift Nightmare, so hard content.
Yeah.
So it's using Shamir and Mari together. Or no, I didn't
Okay.
use
Oh
Mari at
no, not
all.
in this one.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, even though they're immune to the immobilize, still.
Yeah, the movement speed reduction's enough. Plus
Yeah.
good damage.
And then this is a place where, like, if I were actually not being goofy with it, I would have like popped Brienne's ultimate, right? As that walker was getting close,
Right.
and I probably would have placed a Isolde. But the
Yeah.
thing with Void Rift Nightmare is that those golems hit so hard, they're likely to one shot anything but an Olad or a King Hars once he's shielded up, or a Brokir, right?
Yeah.
Is that they hit so hard that this kind of is an alternate to using the really strong tanks. And then up there, mid-end is basically serving as the tank, because they target the closest thing on the platform. So she's kind of being the tank for Calypso.
Oh, from those mages up there that it start coming out. Okay. Then,
Yeah.
Yep. Got it.
So, but yeah, so I mean, this is what Shamir really gives you is freedom. You can put your stuff on the map where you want, not where the map thinks you should, right?
Yeah, it's a really clever way to use them, and it's fun. I'm glad, because it's hard for me as a content creator, and I mean just community member, hearing everyone's opinions constantly, seeing my YouTube comments, seeing comments on Twitch, or like when we're live. Like, obviously people have strong opinions as a community, but do they really know? Do we really know, unless you actually really try to push these characters like you have? It's like, it's
Right.
hard. It's so easy just to jump on the bandwagon and just assume someone sucks. Like, I'm guilty. I like when I talk to Ash and like Ezrin being super underrated. It's like, it's true. That is a pretty impressive ability,
Mhm.
like to have that full board. And as long as the
Right.
single target's a really good heal, it might be all you need. So like, it's like people, it's just so easy to hate on a character and want the best ones in the game, but maybe
Yeah.
it's not always about like that
Well,
newest, biggest heavy hitter. You can actually use them in creative ways, and they might be more important to your team than like Hex, Silas, whatever. Like, he could be the most valuable person on your team.
right, and then that's something that I think is really important, because that, like, my guild leader actually quit the game because she didn't have a Silas, and she was trying to push for grade 321, and she couldn't do it. And every single guide had a Silas, and nobody was
Yeah.
providing any content. And so she just says, "I'm at a paywall, so I'm going to quit."
Oh
Um,
wow.
be-
Yeah, people really do.
that's the type of thing that I think is a tragedy. Is are there more efficient heroes in the game? Although I've got a comment about efficiency in a moment. That you can say that there are other heroes that are less niche than Shamir, but if you don't have those heroes, you got to have alternatives, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem I think that the community is in right now. So the last thing that I want to talk about efficiency is efficiency is defined as maximized output for given input, or maximized, minimizing the input to produce a given output, right? And so a lot of times when people talk about efficiency, they don't talk about what they're maximizing and what they're minimizing, right? Or they'll just kind of hint at it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times you have those game-changing moments when you find a different variable and you start playing with a different variable, right? So if there's still a lot of people who are maximizing or minimizing based off of the amount of effort or skill crystals needed to produce a team, right? They want to produce the maximum amount of content with the smallest number of heroes,
True.
right? There are other forms of efficiency, like how many heroes on a team you need to clear the content, right? And those are going to become relevant as the game ages and matures. Is that you'll have to choose your hero slots wisely. There's already situations where, if all your farming teams, you want to have Razak and Captain Reeve on them, right? So one form of efficiency is either you're clearing the content with only 8 heroes instead of 10, or you've got to use Reeve and Razak, right?
Yeah.
So, how many slots on a team you have open to these other things is a measure of efficiency, and that's what Shamir does. Because he's basically a tank, a healer, and a DPS in one slot.
That's cool. I like it. All right. Well, I think that's a good spot to wrap up for this video. It's a bit of a longer deep dive, but it's cool. I mean, I really, really hope people appreciate it and if you guys are still watching to the end, you guys are the troopers, because I think those are the people that are probably like, wow, okay, maybe I need to give this guy a chance. And maybe I will try to be less negative in my summoning videos.
Or at least you can point. Actually, I've got a video about Shamir. Here, watch this. Yeah.
Exactly. I'll be like, guys, before we hate on him again, like we do every single summoning video or event, we got a thing. Watch this. Oh, all right. Well, thank you so much for letting me showcase your really cool Shamir. And yeah, sharing that experience with me. And we'll have to get in touch for Estrid as well.
Thanks for having me. Love your channel.
Guys. Yes, anytime. All right. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video.